Hello, friends. Welcome back to the next episode of Go Agile 11. I know there was quite a long gap, but let's catch up. Previously, we looked at the different scaled agile frameworks such as Scrum of Scrums, Less, Nexus, SAFe, etc. And before that, we also looked at how a Scrum team works and how they deliver a shippable increment in each sprint. Now, in today's episode, we will explore a little bit more on SAFe. So, SAFe stands for Scaled Agile Framework. We very briefly touched on why we need an agile framework at enterprise level. Let's look at the need for such an enterprise level scaled agile framework and some of its benefits now. So as we saw previously, the need for SAFe came from some of the typical questions such as how do you launch hundreds of teams across the enterprise with a common enterprise level product or capability that you are building? It's no longer just one team, right? Now it's a collective effort, so collaboration has to happen across so many teams. How can you get all of them to work parallelly on the same initiative? How do you get better predictability and consistency on a large-scale program? How can you optimize costs? How can you leverage resources across the enterprise? There may be many shared resources which used to be owned by different projects earlier. So how can you get a higher level of leverage? How can you provide better visibility to senior management? Won't it be nice if you reduce the micromanagement but increase self-organized and responsible teams? How can you obtain increased employee engagement? How can you achieve faster time to market? Obviously, there are competition pressures too. How can you establish a higher level of strategic alignment? Can you get more frequent launches of the product? So if we want to address some of all these questions and eliminate some of the traditional challenges, then implementing one of these scaled agile frameworks seems to be the right way. We also discussed previously that there are many different scaled agile frameworks. SAFe is one such framework. So now let's dig a bit deeper into what exactly is the SAFe and how it is structured, different components, features, etc. So I'll be referring to SAFe, so don't get confused. It stands for Scaled Agile Framework. So let's look at the evolution of SAFe. SAFe was first introduced in 2011 and since then went through 5 major updates. There's a lot of learning from the industry and quite a bit of experimentation too. SAFe has grown quite rapidly in how we can develop software and systems in a more collaborative model. Right now, SAFe 6 is the current version running. So what is SAFe? SAFe again stands for Scaled Agile Framework. SAFe is nothing but it consists of a collection of principles, best practices that helps organizations to embed agile frameworks into their working culture more effectively. It's more of a knowledge base of proven integrated principles, practices, and competencies for achieving business agility using a combination of lean, agile, and DevOps principles. Before we go deep into SAFe framework itself, there are a couple of things we should cover, at least at a higher level. You remember we reviewed Agile Manifesto a while ago? Agile Manifesto consists of the 4 Agile values and the 12 Agile principles. Remember, right? Similarly, there are SAFe core values and SAFe principles. And there are again 4 SAFe core values and there are about 10 SAFe principles. So let's look at the SAFe core values. These 4 core values: alignment, transparency, respect for people, and relentless improvement. These are the 4 SAFe core values. These 4 core values represent the foundational beliefs for SAFe effectiveness. The leadership has to consistently embrace these ideas by setting an example to demonstrate these values in their words and actions. So alignment is basically, if alignment is not established, the companies can develop serious problems. It's like a disoriented car that keeps going without direction. Organization has to stay focused on its goals. In Agile, decisions could be decentralized to get the value in the shortest lead time. This is when alignment is very important, so different teams don't go in different directions. So how do you achieve alignment? It starts from how you communicate the vision and strategy, and connecting that strategy to execution and being consistent in the language. Constantly understanding your customer, so your backlog is aligned well with what your customer is expecting. That is what is alignment. Then transparency. In any large-scale implementation, transparency is very essential. If you're not open, then decision making can be based on speculative assumptions without proper data. So trust is the key. So how do you do that? Create trust-based environment, open communication. Mistakes do happen. How well can you convert the mistakes into useful learning moments? And then visualizing work, that's very important again to get transparency. So this is some of the ways how an organization can achieve transparency. Then respect for people. Try to grow people through coaching and mentoring. embrace the concept that customer is who actually consumes your work, right? So build long-term partnerships based on mutual benefit. So developing a corporate culture that enhances individual creativity and values teamwork while honoring mutual trust and respect is what is the key. So you value diversity, the need to grow better people to build better products. So invest in coaching and mentoring. That's the respect you have to cultivate. Then relentless improvement. For a successful business, continuous and relentless improvement were always a core principle of Agile and Lean. So build a culture that enables people and improvement and a problem-solving culture. Improvement also means constant feedback, which again is an integral part of Agile. Now you can see all these values again are emphasized as we learn more and more about SAFe principles and implementation and even much more. Now that we covered SAFe core values, now let's see the 10 SAFe principles. So SAFe is based on 10 fundamental concepts that have evolved from the Agile principles, lean product development, systems thinking, and other concepts. These principles are embedded throughout the SAFe framework. If you understand these principles well, then understanding the logic and flow of the SAFe framework becomes relatively easy. So let's look at each one of them briefly. Number one, take an economic view. Getting the right value in the shortest time necessitates a good understanding of the economics of building systems. This includes the strategy for incremental value delivery and the broader economic framework for the development. How do you balance the needs and priorities? Are the decisions making economic sense? What trade-offs do you have between risk, cost of delay, development costs, etc.? So these are the things which we consider while looking at the economic view. Then apply systems thinking. In general, systems thinking is a holistic approach to analysis that focuses on the way that a system's constituent parts interrelate and how systems work over time and within the context of the larger systems. Systems could be complex with several components, but optimizing a component may not optimize the total system, right? To improve, everyone must understand the larger aim of the system, but the systems thinking is applied to the systems under development as well as to the organization that builds the system. So the next is assume variability and preserve options. In a traditional model, we typically choose a single design and accordingly the requirements early in the development process, right? Unfortunately, if that starting point proves to be a wrong one, then future adjustments and changes can take too long and also could be expensive. You agree, right? So an alternative approach is to consider multiple design options. Empirical data is then used to narrow the focus, so finalizing a design that creates optimum economic outcomes. The next is build incrementally with fast integrated learning cycles. We looked in the earlier sessions, developing solutions incrementally in a series of short iterations allows for faster customer feedback and mitigates risk. And you improve as you progress with the product build. Some increments may serve as prototypes for market testing, and other increments could become the minimum viable products. In addition, these early fast feedback points really helps to switch to alternate course of action. That is what we are talking about, building incrementally. The next is base milestones on objective evaluation of working systems. This is self-explanatory. So developers, customers, and all stakeholders, they all have equal and shared responsibility to ensure that any investments in any new solutions that are being built have to deliver economic benefits, right? So the integration points all along the agile development should be your objective milestones to evaluate the solution. This regular evaluation provides the financial and technical fitment to ensure that a continuing investment will produce an appropriate return. The next one is make value flow without interruptions. If you remember, we reviewed the flow during our Kanban sessions. Understanding the flow, various properties of the flow, and how these properties accelerate or slow down the flow of value is what this principle is about. Apply cadence synchronized with cross-domain planning. So we talked about cadence earlier also during Agile principles. Cadence creates predictability and provides a rhythm for development. Synchronization causes multiple perspectives to be understood and resolved. Applying a cadence coupled with periodic cross-domain planning provides the mechanism needed to operate effectively and face the roadblocks. The next one is unlock the intrinsic motivation of knowledge workers. If you think ideation, innovation, and employee engagement can be achieved just by individual incentive compensation, probably that's wrong. Incentivizing is not always a motivational factor. In fact, they can create internal competition and create conflicts to reduce productivity. But creating an environment of mutual influence, trust, minimizing constraints, providing autonomy actually could lead to higher levels of employee engagement. That's what this principle covers. And then the decentralizing the decision making. So, as it says, decentralized decision making makes the system more efficient to produce better results. This reduces delays, improves product development flow, enables faster feedback, and enhances innovation as well. Of course, you also have to remember there are still many decisions that may need centralized decision making, things like strategic, global, that may have economies of scale. But for many local and tactical decisions, it's important to empower employees to decentralize decision making for faster value delivery. That's what it covers. Then the last one, but not the least, is organizing around value. Basically, what they're saying here is try to organize the enterprise around value, not around some functional expertise or some old principles that were written some 30 or 40 years ago in the organization. Now things are changing. Now, how can you respond to market conditions? And responding to what your customers want at most speed, that is what is required. That is what is being agile. So the new order is collaborate, bring best ideas across the organization to drive that full value is what this principle is all about. And when change is required, respond fast to reorganize around the changes to enhance the value flow. So that covers the 10 SAFe principles. For now, we are not going to details on the SAFe principles, but we'll see if we can cover this again in detail in future sessions. Let's now get into a little bit more details on SAFe. Broadly, SAFe is built around the 7 core competencies of the lean enterprise that are critical to achieving and sustaining a competitive advantage in a rapidly changing digital age. Without going into too much detail, let's quickly review these 7 competencies. Remember, as we keep progressing and cover more of SAFe, all the below will again keep coming again and again in many ways. So for now, let's just review them quickly. The 7 competencies are lean agile leadership, team and technical agility, agile product delivery, enterprise solution delivery, lean portfolio management, organizational agility, and continuous learning culture. So basically, the lean agile leadership, all it says is, can we apply lean agile leadership skills that drive and sustain organizational change by empowering individuals and teams to reach their highest potential? And then team and technical agility, how can we drive team agile behaviors as well as sound technical practices? So when I say the technical practices, basically things such as built-in quality or test-driven development, behavior-driven development, agile testing, and all these things. The next is agile product delivery. So building high-performing teams that use design thinking and customer centricity to provide that continuous flow of valuable products. And you can probably use things like DevOps, continuous delivery pipeline, and release on demand. That is what is covered under agile product delivery. Then you have the enterprise solution delivery, building and sustaining the world's largest software applications, networks, and cyber physical solutions. All that is covered under enterprise solution delivery. Then you have the lean portfolio management. Here we look at how can we execute portfolio vision and strategy formulation, or how can you charter the profiles, creating the vision, lean budgets, guardrails, portfolio prioritization, road mapping, and all these things that are strategic to the organization. Then you have the organizational agility. Can we align strategy and execution by applying lean and systems thinking approaches to strategy and investment funding, agile portfolio operations and governance? These are the things we will consider here in the organizational agility. Then you have the continuous learning culture. It's very important to continually increase the knowledge, competence, and performance by becoming a learning organization that is committed to relentless improvement and innovation. So learning is a lifetime activity. So each of these 7 competencies have 3 dimensions again. So totaling 21 dimensions. So in effect, there are 7 competencies and 21 dimensions. And this is what enables and drives the business agility. If we broadly categorize this into execution and strategy, the execution related competencies, for example, are shown on the left, while the competencies that support strategy development are on the right. The lean agile leadership competency, which is the foundation, is in the bottom middle. The customer is prominently featured at the center as the focal point for all the competencies. So, for any organization to achieve agility and to be successful, whether it is to respond to market volatile conditions, or responding to changing customer needs, or responding to the growing technological changes, they should implement SAFe, and for an effective implementation and to also derive those benefits, they should target and perfect these 7 core competencies. So, once again, those 7 competencies are lean agile leadership, team and technical agility, agile product delivery, enterprise solution delivery, lean portfolio management, organizational agility, and continuous learning culture. I hope you are able to follow this. Initially, it may look a little bit complicated, but as you keep learning more and more about SAFe, you will be able to relate to these values, principles, or competencies more effectively. So keep learning. Until we meet again in Go Agile 12, you all have fun and take care. Thank you.